Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the official launch of the Transformation Station Leadership Podcast. Transformation Station, this is where we fuel resilient leadership one transformation at a time. I'm Adrienne Benton, your host, coach, fellow leader, and someone who knows firsthand that growth rarely looks as pretty as it sounds. This is not just another leadership podcast, but Transformation Station is your space to get real about resilience, leadership, and personal growth without the pressure to be perfect. Know that around here, we believe that failure isn't final, it's a plot twist. Resilience isn't about pretending that you're strong, it's about building inner strength. And leadership starts inside before it ever shows up on the outside. So, as you engage over these coming days and weeks with Transformation Station, know that you're going to hear a mix of solo episodes, guest conversations, personal stories, and powerful tools that you can use. Not just inspiration, but come on now, transformation. Why? I'm so glad you asked. Because the world doesn't need more perfect leaders. What it needs is real, grounded, resilient ones, just like you and just like me. So, even right now, I know that we are an international community. Whether you are listening on Spotify, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and tell us, where are you located? I'm in Italy. Our guest is in the United States. Are you in Germany, South Africa? Go ahead and tell us where you're watching from. And then be sure, I know you have another friend that is a leader. Go ahead and share this podcast with one of your friends who is a leader, because today I'm so excited. Here on launch day, I am absolutely thrilled to have a very special guest with me. With us today, here in this community, we have none other than Dr. Peggy Trusty. Yes, welcome to Transformation Station, Dr. Trusty.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Trusty today, she is our special guest. And Dr. Trusty is a chaplain, she's a wellness strategist, and she is the founder of the Clergy Wellness Hub, the creator of the Individual Wellness Support Plan. Listen, this is a powerful workbook. We're going to talk a little bit more about it as we go through the podcast. And I'm going to invite you to, if you don't already have this in your resource tool bag, then you've got to get it, right? Dr. Trusty, you you've created some amazing work that really deals with wellness centered leadership. Can you talk to us just a little bit about what is it that moved you, that caused you to go ahead and to create the IWSP, and how has it personally transformed your approach to leadership and wellness?
Oh, first, thank you for having me. My journey with the IWSP began right after COVID. And during COVID, we were under a lot of stress as chaplains. We were seeing so much, and there was a lot of burnout. And I was
Mm,
trying to think of different ways that we could create something to be able to support my fellow chaplains. But as I journeyed along, I am also a PK. I am a pastor's kid. And so as I was forming my framework, I started to run into things where I could actually see my own experience as a PK, see my father's experience as a pastor. And I was a little bit triggered. I started to really feel the passion and the pain that ministers can really go through. And so while it started with chaplains and then it morphed into being inclusive of other pastors, then as I began to tell people about it and speak about it with nurses and medical people, social workers, they were like, something, this can help me too. And so it has grown into something absolutely tremendous that has become a tool to really, really help people. It has influenced me in that it has made me so much more aware.
Mm.
The process is all about being self-aware, or your awareness, but being able to work through this is not only talk help me to feel my own awareness, but understand the need for a wellness in other people, to
Mm.
notice when other people, they just have no clue, but yet they feel like something is wrong. And so
Mm.
this process has just really helped me to be able to see with eyes I did not have before.
I love that. I love that. And again, we're talking about wellness centered leadership.
Absolutely.
According to Dove Medical Press, leaders prioritizing wellness centered leadership are crucial for creating healthy, thriving work environments and for achieving sustained organizational success. We are talking today to leaders. We're talking to leaders who are brand new in their leadership. We're talking to leaders who maybe have been leading for 10 years and feeling like they're at a place where they're ready for a reset. And we're talking to leaders who have been in the game for a very long time, but they recognize that, okay, even though they are on their way out, there's still some wellness principles that would make a difference for their life and for those that they are leading. And we're told statistically that when we look at burnout among employees, which is a huge problem in the workspace, that approximately 52 of employees experience burnout each year, with 37% feeling so overwhelmed that it has hindered their job. I ask you today, those of you who are in the audience, go ahead and just ask yourself right now, am I feeling burnt out? Am
Mm.
I feeling overwhelmed? And or what about your employees, those that you are leading? And Dr. Trusty, we're told that wellness-centered leadership inspires teams to think beyond the status quo. It empowers them to drive change and helps them achieve meaningful results. I know for myself as a leader, I'm always thinking, how can I inspire my team to go beyond the average? How can I empower my
Right.
team to not just be moved to bring about good change because I said that's what we need to do, but because they feel empowered to do it? Dr. Trusty, can you talk to us a little bit about why you believe that it's crucial for leaders to have a personal wellness plan, especially, right now in these days, we're experiencing a lot of pressure, high pressure. So can you talk to us about why do you believe it's crucial for leaders to have a wellness plan, especially in high pressure roles?
Absolutely. In leadership, some of the things that we definitely have to be consistent. We need consistency, we need clarity, we need presence, and we can't have any of those things, or we can't show or demonstrate any of those things if we don't have them ourselves. So ideally, in order to have, or in order to increase our own wellness, having a wellness plan allows us to demonstrate what wellness looks like. It helps us to be able to understand the importance of wellness. If I am a leader and I push myself to the brink, then I expect my team to also push themselves to the brink. And productivity over people, it does not work. It does not work. People want to feel cared for. If you care for your people will care for your goals. So our idea, or our responsibility as leaders, is to make sure our people are taken care of. I can't take care of them if I can't take care of me. I
Mm,
I don't even feel like it. I'm burned out, and I feel like that's just the way it's supposed to be as a leader. So if I'm burned out and feeling like that, then it's okay if they feel like that. No, we have to restructure the organizational culture so that we understand that burnout is not acceptable, and wellness and well-being is what's important. Because if they are taken care of, if people feel nurtured, if people feel like it's okay to say, you know something, I need to breathe. If they
mm,
can breathe, you can breathe. It's a full circle. And that kind of organization that takes care of clients, that
mm,
takes care of whomever your consumer is. All of those things are taken care of if our people are taken care of. And
mm,
we can't do that as leaders if we don't take care of ourselves.
mercy. I want to say welcome to Nashoni Chong, who's watching with us from Chang, who's watching with us from Tennessee. And you said something that I wanted to highlight. Burnout is not acceptable.
Mm.
Listen, if you're watching right now or you're listening, I want you to go ahead and put hashtag not acceptable. Not acceptable. You know what I have found throughout the years, when I first was getting into leadership, I was so driven, or I believe that I had to be so driven to achieve that I accepted burnout. Burnout was acceptable. Working
Mhm.
late was acceptable. Coming
Mhm.
to work super early and staying super late, not eating, not exercising, not getting sleep, going home and still doing work became acceptable. But I'm learning that it's not sustainable.
Absolutely not.
Not sustainable for me, nor was it a good example or
And that,
sustainable to my people,
yeah.
because some of them began to mirror what I was doing. And then I would have the nerve to get an attitude with them. But they were
Wow.
just doing what
What you
they
were doing.
saw me do.
Mm. Absolutely.
Mercy. Can you explain to us from your book, you have in your book, you talk about the emotional response continuum. Can
Oh,
you talk to us about the emotional response continuum and how it helps leaders recognize when they are no longer well? Because this conversation needs to be twofold. One, we're talking to leaders about having their own plan. But before I can put a plan in place, or maybe as I put a plan in place, I need to be aware of what's going on with me. So can you talk to us a little bit about the emotional response continuum?
right. So the emotional response continuum is written into a book called Leading While Feeling, and it is a support resource for the IWSB, the Individual Wellness Support Plan. So the emotional response continuum is five emotions from soaring to suffering. And as a leader, as an individual, I'm looking at these things and I'm trying to become self-aware to understand where I am. And if I can look at this continuum, if I'm continually being in the suffering or the struggling range, or if I feel like I'm in the soaring range, and yet I feel like I'm constantly being dragged down, being self-aware or aware of where I am on the continuing helps me to know or to regulate where I am, to start to think about, okay, what do I need to do to feel better? To be able to ask yourself those types of questions so that you can figure out where you are and then take the steps necessary to make changes. And that's what's important. I want to just switch up a little bit. In the book, one of the book, the IWSP, has 10 components. And the second component is your personal wellness check. And so the idea with your personal wellness check is for us to be able to say, am I doing good? What am I like when I'm good? So if I know what I'm like when I'm good, if I can look at the emotional response check and see what I'm like, if I can regulate that and understand that, then I can figure out what I'm like when I'm not good. If I'm not, so for myself, one of the things that I know that I do is I get up early every morning. I get up early every morning. I pay attention to my diet. There are certain things that I do when I know I'm well. But as soon as I start to sleep in, as soon as I find that I'm not getting up at 6 o'clock and I'm now getting up at 7, that starts to let me know that something is a little off, something is a little wrong. So tells me things that I need to change. The same way, the emotional response continuum lets us know when things are off. If we know when things are off, then we can make the changes we need to make it right.
If we know when things are off,
Absolutely.
then we can make the changes that we need to make it right. I'm going to say it one more time. If we know when things are off, so ask yourself, Transformation Station community, do you know when things are off with you?
Absolutely.
Come on, if you're honest, yes, you do. Many times we may not totally always be cognizant of exactly what it is, but we know when things are off. Sometimes we know because we're having physical reactions. I know when I get a headache, when I'm prone to having headaches, I got to ask myself, okay, are you getting enough sleep? Did you drink enough water? Are
Mm.
you spending most of your time having a mindset that is anxious and full of anxiety? If my shoulders are aching, I have to stop and say, okay, we need to readjust something here, because again, that is not allowing myself to live in a position of wellness. So I invite everybody, take some time to do an assessment right now and ask yourself the question with no judgment. Is it well with me?
Is
If
it
I'm
well with me? That's
aware,
right.
can I identify? And then we'll talk in a few moments about what comes next. So, on page 158, 159 of Dr. Trusty's book, she talks about creating a safe space. I'm
Mm,
sorry. Well, she kind of talks about what are some ways that leaders can prioritize wellness. What are some ways that leaders can prioritize wellness? And so, Dr. Trusty, I'm going to ask you, can you share with us what are some ways that leaders can prioritize wellness? And maybe the part B to that is, what are some cultural shifts that may be needed in order to make the changes sustainable?
mm. It's a very wonderful question. And you answered it when you asked the question. But the idea, one of the things is be able to create a safe space where you're able to listen. So your employees, your staff know that you care.
Mm,
Creating that space where it's not constant pressure. You have to do this, you have to do that. It shouldn't always be a meeting about me telling you what I need done, or
mm,
things like that. But can you just check in?
mm,
That's another way to use your ERC, the emotional response continuum. Look at the continuum. Where are you on this continuum, and why? What can I do to
mm,
increase you from suffering or struggling all the way up to succeeding and soaring? What can I do for you as a leader? But creating that space. Now, cultural
mm,
shifts, one thing that I've noticed, especially in my research, is that we live in a culture where it's always about producing. It's always
mm,
about, we create these plans, we all of the things that we want to do, we want to push forward constantly, but we don't increase or include with inside those plans structures to take care of people. We
mm,
don't. Taking care of people becomes an afterthought. We have this plan and then we want to pick up our broken people afterward. No, the idea is if you make your plans, whatever it is, whatever your work happens to be, as you're moving along to be productive, build into it times for reflection, for
mm,
renewal, all those things that make our employees feel like we actually care. They shouldn't be here worrying about their well-being on their own. We shouldn't
mhm,
say, "Hey, go take care of that. Hey, I gave you five what do they call it? Employee assistance program counseling sessions. Go use it and leave me alone." No, the idea is, especially with the IWSP, I wanted it to be an opportunity to partner with employees so that they can look at it, and so your
mhm,
leader can look at it and say to them, "Listen, where are you in your wellness support plan? What do
mm,
you need in your wellness support plan? I see that you have a plan. How can I help you make sure you meet your wellness goals?" If we can build a culture around that, it
mm,
would change everything. People
mm,
right now are burnt out. There's chaos everywhere and they're stressed.
mhm,
We can change that. We have an opportunity now to change the culture. We are aware finally that there is a problem. So
mm,
now that we are aware there is a problem, this is a solution, one of probably many, but this is one solution that can help us fix it.
mm, hmm. This is really rich. And for every leader that is listening to this and watching this right now, this is a great place for some to pause and have some reflection. As you were talking, I was thinking about my own office space and asking myself, how do I lead in building a culture of wellness? One of the things that we started instituting in our offices at the beginning, as you know, you can't always do it in terms of sometimes you just have those moments where you got to get straight down to business.
Absolutely.
But when it's not pressure, we have our team meeting every week. We start off the meeting going around the table and just simply asking the question, how are you doing this today?
Mm,
Our team meeting happens on Mondays. So I will give space to say, did you do anything this weekend
good.
that you'd like to share with the group? It's amazing just those few moments
Mhm.
of being able to have a conversation with your coworkers from a
Absolutely.
human perspective. One, it helps you to get to know each other a little bit better.
Yes.
Two, it causes people to feel like they're seen and heard.
Yes.
It's small things. It doesn't always have to be huge things, but there are small things that leaders can do to build a culture of wellness, which is so important.
Absolutely.
Uh, so I want to ask you this question, right? Or actually, can you talk to us a little bit about how can organizations support their people in prioritizing wellness?
Mm.
How can we support those that we lead in prioritizing wellness?
I believe that it comes from the top of the organization and creating time and space within the workday or within the work schedule for employees to be able to prioritize their wellness. Within the IWSP, there's a whole wellness toolbox where people or individuals can come up with or think of what kind of tools help them to sustain their wellness, whether it's meditation, whether it's a breathing exercise, whatever it is, grounding tools, any kinds. There's all kinds of things. So, what's in their toolbox? And so, letting them know that it's okay, whenever you need to take your 5 minute break, 5 minute little vacation, you can take that. And allowing them without pressure. When I was at one organization, we had this sign and we could make it any picture we wanted. And when we set this little sign up, that meant we were on our 5 minute beach vacation. Just 5 minutes. And it was okay. And no, you weren't supposed to do it all day long. It was just 5 minutes. So if you needed that space, we built into the culture of that organization the ability to be able to, you can do that and it's okay. A lot of times in organizations, we just feel, employees feel, and even leaders feel pressure to make sure their employees are producing. So rearranging the culture to say, okay, I want you to produce, but I also want you to be well. Use the tool, use your tool, and you have the time to do that because I care about you. I want
Mm,
you to be well.
yeah.
Instead of pushing people to always work past the time they're supposed to leave, are you making sure that you get home to your family? Are
Mm,
you making sure that you get home to you?
mm,
Whatever it is that you need to do. Did you have your gym time? Being able to just ask those questions to make
mm,
sure that your employees know that
mm,
wellness is just as much as part of the picture as your productivity. They both mean the same weight. I
mm.
need you to be well as much as I need you to produce.
I'm gonna ask you to just say those last few lines one more time because this is a message right now that there is a leader, there's 4 leaders, 5, there's 10 leaders that are listening right now that need this direct word. Can you just say that one more time?
For our employees, we want to make sure that we prioritize wellness as much as we prioritize productivity. We want
Mm.
our employees to be just as well as we
Yes,
want them to produce. That's what's most important.
yes,
And we
yes.
want them to know this, not just
Mm,
assume. We want to
mhm,
be able to make them aware if we say it in our meetings, even if
mhm,
it's a little catchphrase or slogan that we say at the end. I want you to remember, I care about your wellness. Have a good day. Whatever it is,
mhm.
you have to make sure that you are consistent and you let them
Consistent.
know that consistency and
Mhm,
letting them know that you care about their wellness.
mhm,
Yes, you need to make sure you meet your deadlines. Yes, you need to make sure that you're on time. Yes, all of that is important, but it's just as important for you to
mhm.
take care.
Wow, this is so important. I see it now. I was gonna say I've seen it, but I see it now in my leadership. When I take care of me, my people notice. Like they notice when I get my hair done. They notice when I get my nails done. They notice when I
Absolutely.
show up and I'm clean shaven and everything. They notice when my office is a mess and a wreck and cluttered, and they notice when it's clean.
Absolutely.
Wellness. Like we're talking about wellness. They notice when I take care of me. When I take care of me, they interact with me much more pleasantly. I can see they have much more confidence in what I
Beautiful.
say and how I'm sharing it. And there's more of an atmosphere of peace. So that means leaders, right now, as we're having this conversation, there's an assessment that needs to be taking place right now, and it may be time to reset. Today
Mm,
is Sunday. You have a week that's coming up. I want to invite you as you look forward into this week that's coming. Where right now can you make a commitment to assess and to reset? To
mm,
assess and to reset. One for you, because your wellness is important. If you fall down, fall out, get sick, guess what? They will miss you for a few minutes
mm.
and you will be replaced. That's just the
Absolutely.
reality for all of us. And also, your people need it because, as Dr. Trusty said, we literally are living in a very pressure cooker time period right now. There's
Absolutely.
pressure all over. There's pressure on the job, and people are coming to work with pressure from their personal lives. But
Mhm.
when we take our strategic leadership and we combine that with wellness centered leadership, we give our
Mm.
team the best opportunity for success and for ourselves. So, as we turn the corner, Dr. Trusty, I'm going to ask you to share with us from your book, the IWSP. Talk to us a little bit about the purpose alignment inventory. Maybe I want to stop and I want to assess, but I'm not totally sure how. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Okay, so the book contains a number of assessments. That particular assessment is deals with our early warning signs. When we're starting to feel overwhelmed, we're starting to think, "Am I burning out? What are the type of things that I'm feeling?" And so, one of the things that people begin to feel, as I've talked to many leaders and pastors and clergy and chaplains and healthcare workers, one of the things that they begin to start thinking is, "Am I really fulfilling my purpose? Maybe this really isn't my purpose. Maybe I should be thinking about doing something else." No, all kinds of things can happen. And you have these expectations in life that our leadership should go such and such, but it sometimes it doesn't go that way. And so the purpose alignment inventory is an opportunity for us to actually look at our values, our lifestyle, and how that aligns with our purpose, what we feel that our purpose, our calling is. And it helps us to kind of reassess, okay, yeah, okay, maybe this is out of whack, but just because this one section of my life might not be the way I want it to be, that doesn't mean that I am totally offline. And then it lets me know, what can I do to kind of figure out how to get this part back balanced? What wellness tools do I need? What's in my toolbox that I can utilize to be able to help me get back on track?
I love it. I absolutely love this. So, Dr. Trusty, as we conclude our podcast today, looking at wellness centered leadership, what final word of wisdom, best practice would you like to leave with our audience today?
Well, as a final word, I think it's important for us to be honest with ourselves, honest to see where we are on our own wellness journey. And to start to taking inventory about what our needs are as leaders and how we influence the world around us. People look to us, they model our behavior, they look at us to find answers about how to navigate their own lives. What is that we are demonstrating to the world? As we make those assessments, maybe there are some changes. I believe that the IWSP is the individual wellness support plan is one of the best plans because it allows you to it's individualized. It's not just a blanket statement, this is what everybody should do. You can individualize your own wellness. And that's what we need. Take the time to individualize your own wellness plan and what you need. I can be reached. My website is clergywellnesshub.com. I'm currently putting together, I think I put the first little video on YouTube called Organizational Shift, and there'll be 3 videos up there to talk about what we need to do or how our mindset needs to change, and then our methods, and then how we build momentum in order to make those shifts toward wellness in the future.
Fantastic. I love it. I'm so happy that you were able to join us today. You have an open invitation to come back to the Transformation Station community once again. And so we will have a follow up in part 2 because this conversation was so rich. And I know that there's so much more. As mentioned, the link for Dr. Trusty's book workbook, the IWSP. This is a valuable resource for all leaders from a personal level, and as you look to lead your those in your workspace. We're going to put that link in the chat. It's there. Please go ahead and get this rich tool for yourself. Once again, Dr. Trusty, thank you so much for joining us. We definitely will have you back again.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been
Sorry about that. Yes, thank you
no
so
problem.
much. All right. Well, there you have it. Thanks for tuning in to Transformation Station, where resilient leaders rise. If today's conversation sparks something new in you, I want to invite you to share this podcast with a friend. Share it, leave a review, or tag me in the socials because I want to hear how you're growing through what you're going through. Remember, every week we will dive into either a personal solo experience, a real life story, and or like today, real conversation with inspiring guests and with tools that everyday leaders need on a practical level. So, it's time to sign off, but until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, keep on transforming. I'll see you and another one of your leader friends when we have our next episode at Transformation Station Leadership Podcast.